久しぶりです。カイ先輩。なんか、お元気ですか？うわ、久しぶりに日本語使ってるから許してくださいね。錆びてるね。でもまあ、カリフォルニアにいるから、日本語で話すわけない。あ、でもこの間なんか日本語久しぶり聞いた。珍しいですね。But, this is all about speaking English on a daily, consistent basis. And so I'm going to lend my voice to you guys so that, well, you can kind of hear what it's like to speak English, think in English, bitter cold weather. But I hope that you stay warm in your hearts and in your mind and physically as well. Wear a down jacket if you have to. Sleep with 3 blankets, a futon, heated flooring. Man, I swear to God, I remember the first winter I experienced in Japan. And I remember waking up and seeing my breath. See, there's things you're not supposed to see. One of those things is language, right? Like language is invisible. This is an audio wave, right? So is our breath, right? It's supposed to be invisible. But then, like a cloud of breath, right? And, we all have bad breath when we wake up, but it wasn't bad breath. I mean, well, it could have been, but I mean, it was just literally cold weather inside of a house. So weird to be in a place on earth that can like literally kill you if you're not like prepared, because honestly, this is CG created background, but more or less this is what California does look like. The palm trees do not look like that. Palm trees are more straight and tall. But the fire pit, like being able to pull your camper up to the beach, you can do that down in Bolsa Chica. So it's like, I mean, this is kind of like a typical winter day, like if you make it out to the ocean every day, right? So like this is wintertime. And last week was like the coldest it got all year. And, I thought I was going to die. It was like 6 degrees, I think, at night. 6 degrees at night. That is, or in the morning. I would say that's pretty cold, right? But I would say in Tokyo, that's a warm winter day. So, there's kind of like this 2 different sides of the coin kind of thing, that your guys' high temperature is our low temperature, and it just makes for separate levels of acceptance of what is humane in a sense. And, our parents made decisions to get us born where we were, and you guys were all born in a land that has wintertime, and maybe that's good, maybe that's not, but I would like to invite you. I would like to do this maybe actually live on a beach, but the technology hassle, that's why movie studios create studios, because if you wanted different environments and you wanted to jump around and do things, a studio allows that, right? With the lighting, and can change the lighting color. And, there's so many things that you can control with a studio. So it does make a lot of sense to keep making videos from a studio for me personally, but I would like to actually live a life more like this one right here, to be honest. And so if we can just take a moment to visualize where we want to be in the future, what we want to be doing, and what we want to be saying and who we want to be talking to. Like, this kind of has the vibe. You know what I'm saying? This kind of feels like, yeah, I could live here. So, you guys, how you doing? Where has life taken you on your epic journey through this like English education, worldwide consciousness, kind of like collective experience that we're all having? I mean, how you doing? What are you doing? What is up? And you can say hi. Whoops, wrong language. You can say hi. Oh my God, I switched it, I swear. You can say hi right there on the chat. Guys, this is a live stream. And the entire point of this live stream is so you guys get literally like real English happening in real time and not AI produced bullshit that I know a lot of you watch. Like, I swear to God, I think Japanese people like robots too much. And, you know, tell me I'm wrong, but a lot of the videos have like fake voices, you know? And it's just like, whoa, what are you doing? Like, what? Like, why are you talking to a robot? You know what I mean? Like, why are you so like keen on like talking to an AI chatbot? Like, come on guys, we got to be real. You got to talk real if you want to be accepted as real, or do you want to be accepted as like just a foreigner learning language for the rest of your life? You know, like, I learned my Japanese in 10 months. It wasn't that hard once I kind of understood what to focus on and what to not focus on, right? And it's not that hard. You know, you talk to humans, you mimic humans, and then you kind of start sounding like a human. So if you guys want to sound like a human, oh boy, here, we'll make that our first lesson of today. You really got to listen. And then not only do you got to listen, but you gotta mimic. So let me open up our little whiteboard here, and let me just do this. Come in, watch and build this out in real time. But there's this concept that I think is kind of cool, but you guys can tell me if I'm off base here or not. That we're all kind of hue, the ooh sound right there, and then we're all kind of human. And of course, that's not a ah, that's a in, like human, right? We're all human. 違うか. And if we want to talk like a human, we got to like learn from a human. 違うか. Like, seriously, I struggle to understand. Well, okay, I understand human psychology, but like, I didn't learn Japanese from a robot, nor did I learn Japanese from a, what do you call it? An American or a gaijin? You know what I mean? Like, when I watch Japanese, like, 英語の教育のチャンネルとかさ、日本人の顔が多くない？それでまあ、ネイティブスピーカーかもわかんないけど、ネイティブかどうかわからんやん。見た目だけで。So, you gotta listen, right? So, it's kind of like, oh, Anni, ohayo, good morning. We're shifting into the English mode already. You're a little late, but don't worry. We're here in California here. So, like, shift gears here, and we're gonna start getting our mind to like actually think in English, right? But France 行ったことある？ありますよ。I went to Paris, and it was awesome. I met my friend there. He is from Romania. We met in Tokyo, but we've stayed friends all these years. And he was taking his family back to Romania, and on the way back from Romania, we met in Paris. And it was epic on every level. It was one of the best trips I've ever had, and I totally recommend it, at least for a week, and especially if you have friends, you know, like that can maybe show you some things. My other friend, Brett, beloved Brett, who I miss dearly, he lives in France, Paris, so I got to meet him, and we met in Tokyo too, but he took us to like, you know, bars that I would have no idea it existed, you know, and we had many beautiful experiences and talking to people and going to record shops and riding the subway. That was crazy, right? だって日本の地下鉄慣れてるからね。で、フランスの地下鉄乗ってまあすごいよね。似てるけど違うって感じですね。So I love that aspect of travel. So yeah, France was awesome. Why? Annie, do you want to go to France? Because everybody does. It's just it's a matter of timing and like finances, I guess. When I went, I got to stay in this like old, like crazy. It's like crazy. It's like literally crazy. Like the stairs, because the building was like built in the 1700s, like 300 years old, right? And the stairs, they were like getting worn from all the foot traffic going up the stairs, right? So like I was staying in this old building built like so long ago. It's such an amazing experience, especially coming from California where we have no history. So yeah, like the finances though, right, is kind of like the big trick, because like you can stay in an Airbnb and you can stay in like an authentic, you know, French apartment, which is super cool. But like, how long can you maintain that, right? And so, right, I want to go to France too. But then, for me, I also want to go to like Germany and England and Spain and Italy and Greece. I want to go to Turkey. You know, like I want to experience it all, just like you guys, right? And so, you know, one day I think that hopefully I'll be able to make that channel, the travel channel. That's a good word. I am so on fire. Check this out. I love doing this because, you know, nobody else is going to do it, so I will. So like we have the word channel, and is that spelled with two N's? I forget. Or is that Chanel or channel? Anyway, bring it over here, and then we add the little color. So we got channel, right, for example. And then the next word, though, and this is something that you never see anywhere, like on the other kind of like pronunciation channels, is that the word travel, whoops, why am I doing that? Here we go, come here. And then here we go, boom, boom, boom. Just to illustrate the point that the channel travel channel actually is the same sound. I know you guys all know that, right? Like a tree is a tree, cha-cha-cha-chinko. So yeah, travel channel is what I want to do. But I never had like the right, what do you call it? Perspective on how to do it. Like traveling's easy, right? But I just don't want to make another travel channel. Get it? I don't, you know what I mean? I have to be unique. Chigoka. So maybe, you know, now that the app is fixed and stuff, hopefully maybe I'll be able to do the travel channel and really do some interesting kind of like worldwide trips, travel trips, channel trips. Anyway, I'll work on the wording later. But yeah, why France? Why now? Of all places, I thought we were in California. Like, check it out. Like, this is basically what a mile away looks like, you know, from where I live. Like the beach is right there. The palm trees are wrong, but and the clouds are too. These are like Florida clouds. Like California's a little different, but more or less, this is the vibe of what it looks like in California. Temperature right now is only 16 degrees. I know it's pretty cold. So Yeah, no, don't envy me. I'm just on a green screen. This is fake. Remember, CG. CG. So, Korea と Japan どっちが、traveling 楽しい? Well, for me, Japan, because I actually enjoy understanding everything, you know? I enjoy, you know, like, なんだっけな、綾部って、綾部で乗り換えてさ、なんかいつも綾部の漢字を読んで、I enjoyed actually understanding where I was, where I'm going. I enjoy being able to talk to people and actually. So when I was in Kyoto the other time, I talked to this old guy. He was my senpai from Higashimaizuru Koto Gakko, right? I mean, by years, he was an old guy. He's like in his 70s, and he graduated from Higashiko. And I was like, me too. And he was so shocked, right? だって外人じゃんみたいな. But yeah, I enjoy interacting with people. And when I was in Korea, I felt really stupid. I mean, a lot of Koreans do speak English, and so we were able to communicate. But I do remember, like, this one guy said I look like James Dean in Korea. And, like, you know, like, I want to talk, but I also feel like, oh, I mean, okay, like, so you like movies, huh? Or, yeah, no, maybe. But it's so much deeper than just, like, small talk a lot of times. Like, だって日本語になっちゃうと、いきなり突然になんか深い話できる俺、なんか悟り開いてないの。But, like, in Korean, like, I just felt stupid. And I felt the same way in Vietnam as well. Like, in Vietnam, I kind of felt like, oh, God, I need a translator, you know? And I don't like that feeling. I like doing what I do. I enjoy meeting new people. And ever since I was living in Tokyo, I made it a point every single day to get outside and meet people, new people, old people, friends, enemies, doesn't matter. Just to see and to be seen, you know, like to get out there, learn from other people and share what you know at the same time, right? So, yeah, because I can speak Japanese, Japan is infinitely more fun than any other country, unless it's like another like English speaking country. So of course I'd like to go back to Korea. I'd like to go back to Vietnam. But I've done it and I felt that kind of like frustration, even though that Vietnam is super cheap. Guys, I swear to God, Vietnam is amazing. So actually this where we are right now looks more like Da Nang than anything. And Da Nang is dope. Like absolutely super affordable. Like, oh my God, amazing. Like the amazing things that you can buy very economically, you know? So yeah, I super recommend traveling like to those countries too, but I kind of want to go to an English speaking country next. Like a foreign English speaking country, because I think accents are funny and amazing, and I'd like to hear more. You know what I mean? Like I went to Tennessee, which is in America. Like, hear me out. But they talk differently down there, and y'all don't know what it's like until you experience it, you know? And so I remember talking to a few people in Tennessee, and I was just kind of shocked, you know? Like I paid with my phone, and the girl, the lady behind the counter, she's like, in the future, everybody going to be paying with their iPhone. And this was like in 2020. So 2021, maybe 2020. I was like, yeah, in the future, right. So, you know, getting perspectives from other people around the world, getting outside of your own safety zone, your own bubble, it's super fun. but it's only fun if you actually interact with people. And a lot of people, when they do travel, they don't do the interaction part. You know, they take some sort of like pre-scripted, like if you go to Airbnb and you get those experiences, right? You can be like, oh, hire a photographer to take you around Kyoto, and you're going to have an experience for sure. But it's definitely like, well, you know what? Screw it. Those are good experiences. And if you can do it, pay it. Because like having a local guide really does separate, you know, your experience from just maybe randomness to something guaranteed to be cool for you because you've never experienced something like that, right? So yeah, if you can get out and get some guidance, even if you have to pay for it, it's worth it because yeah, but it may not be original, but for you it's novel and therefore it's worth it. See what I'm saying? So, Korea って英語通じる? Yeah, I think so. I remember 初めて韓国行った時、プサン着いて、空港に着いて、あれ、現金に、変えないといけないじゃない？で、俺、円からワンにした。で、英語で聞いたんだけど、俺、まあ、日本語できるんですけれども、英語か日本語かどっちが通じるって。And she said, please speak English. So, yeah, you can get far enough in Korea. Yeah, and then but some people don't speak English, and boy, man, I remember this one lady at Starbucks. Anyway, the craziness, like when you don't speak English or I can't speak Korean, right? I don't like that feeling when we cannot communicate. So, but yeah, for the most part, Korea is fine. で、京都って英語で京都みたいな発音するんだよね。Maybe? 俺だって京都しかわかんないか。まあ、京都まあ、そういうね、いるよね。例えば、Wayno アメリカ人と話してったら、なんか、今日、we're gonna go to Wayno today. I was like, Wayno? Where the fuck is Wayno? Oh, 上野か。So, yeah. Like, Americans can't say anything, you know? Ginza, Shibuya, Roppongi. しょうがないか。まあ、なんだろうね、アメリカの母音ってやっぱり基本の母音がとかとかね。でも日本語の基本の母音がい、う、おしかないじゃん。そうだからまあそのアメリカ人がまあ母音多すぎてウェイノ、ルパンギなんだろうね、ちょっとゆるいって感じですね。アメリカ人の日本語の発音がゆるい。逆に日本人の英語の発音が硬い違うか So, no, seriously. めんどくさいって英語ってなんていうの Like a hassle? And I always get that like translating from Japanese into English, but like, yeah, I mean, it's a hassle is the easiest way, but it kind of depends on what you're talking about, right? Like if I got to go to the pharmacy, yeah, it's a hassle. Or I don't want to bother, can't be bothered. But it really does kind of depend on the context. And that's like one of the big things that I remember that me and my friend were talking about when we were learning Japanese, because he was an exchange student at Ritsumeikan and I was an exchange student in Maizuru. So I was getting a more pure experience, but at Ritsumeikan there was other exchange students there, so he was speaking English every day, but we were kind of getting into like how to translate words and stuff like that, and we just kind of realized that you can't translate words, you have to translate either like feelings or phrases in a sense. And so we were talking about like how do you translate change your mind, right? Because like he was saying he had plans to go home after school or something, but then, he changed his mind and he went to his friend's house. So he got home and his host mom was like, hey, you said you were going to come home after school, but you didn't. And the simple answer is, I changed my mind. I went to my friend's house. I had plans, but I changed my mind. It happens all the time, right? But he didn't know how to say, 頭を変えるマインドあかんやろだって彼も俺もね、なんかそのカタカナ英語みたいな癖あるんじゃないですか。なんか言い方わかんなくて、じゃあマインドをチェンジマインドみたいなwe can be very lazy, I know, but if we wanted to be authentic, we're like, well, how do you actually say change your mind, right? Because 頭変えるじゃなくて、マインド変えるじゃなくて、頭チェンジじゃなくて、なんていうの？だって直接、その直接の通訳はなんだっていう考え方、あかん。日本人の言い方から考えないと、ね。So, yeah, めんどくさいって何ですかみたいな1イコール1ではないんだよね。たまに、1イコール5マイナス4って感じだね。フレーズになっちゃう。So, you get the same meaning, but you just get a different string of sounds. But everything is just a string of sounds anyway, so like don't think too much about that. You know what I mean? Like this word or a phrase, it doesn't matter. It's just a bunch of like syllables all strung together, and that's all language is anyway, this invisible sound wave that you cannot see. So like anytime that you're like looking at your lesson, you're on the wrong path. If you're using your eyeballs, you're on the wrong path. You got to be using your ears. And this is why I'm trying to get the sound as best as I can. One day I'm going to get the condenser mic, but the condenser mic makes for a better sound. But I don't know if you guys know this, but my first viral video, the mic that I was using wasn't plugged in. So it was just all iPhone mic. And so like you can do amazing things with just your iPhone. You do not need fancy equipment to do YouTube, but that's a totally separate ball of wax that we're talking about here. I'm trying to give you guys really good sound quality so you can like literally listen to how to talk English, right? Like every fucking lesson on the internet has some visual kind of thing. I guess you need visual notes so you don't forget. And notes are fine because I had a, how do you say? Memocho, flashcard deck, right? So we do take visual notes, but 基本的に言語は音だから you just gotta like listen to the string of sounds and you gotta string them together. Like that's like literally it. Hey, you guys want to hear something really cool? The string and the stream and the strap, for example, these are all kind of like long, thin things, right? So the stra, so stream, string, strap, right? All have the STR, and that's because from the original Proto-European, before English, before kind of Latin language, right? There was a common word, that common kind of like, how do you say that? Syllable thing with a stra, kind of street, for example. Everything is long and narrow. Crazy, right? There's meaning in sounds. So we got to pay attention to these sounds that we're saying, like on the travel channel, the travel, like listen, right? Like if you spend too much time looking, you're just going to totally miss the show. So yeah, I can't, yeah, you can't because you don't. That's like the crazy thing. Like nobody says it. No, like, see you later. Like, bye. No, yeah, and so whatever feeling you're trying to convey, are you? だって日本語の決まってる、お元気ですか？元気みたいな、恐れ入りますみたいな決まってる言わないといけないフレーズが多いからさ。 電話失礼します。今大丈夫ですか？もう必ず言わないといけないんじゃない？電話で。So, お邪魔しますみたいな。Like, that is a function of Japanese society that just doesn't exist in American society, at least, California society. So, you know, you can't do that, basically. It just doesn't make sense. Like, the structure. Now I kind of want to draw a picture, but like the Japanese structure is definitely a patriarchy, hierarchy, right? And who's up above you and who's below you and who's on the same level as you matters. Whereas in English, the structure exists as well, but it's not encoded in the language as severely as Japanese. Does that make sense? There was a book that I read that said cultures with like strong power structures, like patriarchies like that, with like the levels of power represented in the choice of words that you use, right? Like Korean was really bad for communication. And they use this example of Korean Air having a lot of accidents. And they found out that a lot of the accidents were because of miscommunication between the Koreans in Korean. And it was because of these like rules that existed in the power structure. So what they did to fix their crash ratio is they forced everybody in the cockpit to speak English. And by doing so, the power structure went away. So it's much more, well, democratic or equal. If you want to argue if it's actually democratic or equal, that's another thing. But at least it wasn't the patriarchal power system from before. So English has this ability to erase those perceived power structures, or at least cover them up, right? Because, like I said, America is definitely, you know, like an oligarchy, I think is the, you know, word of the last year, at least. So by now it should be obvious it's an oligarchy, but, you know, I digress. I can't translate directly. で、さよならって言いたいときに see you の代わりに till next time で使える。I just say later. You know, late, or see you next week, or, yeah. Until next time seems a little too much. で、さようならってあれじゃない？なんかもう会えないしばらく会えないって感じ。じゃあね、みたいな。でも see you は言わないよ。see ya だったらまあ、hey, see ya later. その see you later, それか see ya, それか later, それか late. どっちでも大丈夫。まあ、友達同士なら、まあ、late. Alright, late. Take it easy. 俺は take it easy って言うよね。よく。会ってない間に take it easy ね。考えすぎないように。So, yeah, it just depends on what you want to say. 決まってるフレーズなら、さようなら、じゃあ see you って感じやけど、なんだろうね。よく考えて、その、なんだろう、気持ちを伝えたいでしょ。その友達か知らない人かどっちかわからないけど、俺は友達と話すと、じゃあねみたいなじゃなくて、いやまあ take it easy って言いたいの。彼はいろいろ考えすぎだからね。だからまあ結局言えないといけない挨拶、さよならみたいな、あれそういう卓球だったら、そういうピンポンだったらね、まあじゃあ決まってるフレーズでいいんじゃない？でも本当に気持ち的に何言いたいの？で、英語で遊べるから、その決まってるフレーズじゃなくて、いや本当に気持ち入れても大丈夫ですよ。So take it easy. You know? 落ち着いて、考えすぎないように、頑張ってくださいっていう、まあ、わかんない。まあ、頑張ってくださいっていう、you know, Like, take it easy, or, you know, well, it depends on, yeah, you got this. Take it easy. Like, you'll say something like advice or something right before you leave, you know? So anyway, yeah, there's more freedom in English to actually express yourself, and you can go above and beyond just like a typical back and forth, you know what I mean? So yeah, like it just really depends on what you want to say. So you just want to say bye, then say bye. But if you actually want to say something, well, say it, you know? I hope you get better, you know, if somebody's going through like some sort of pain or something like that, right? So it just really depends on the context. It really depends on the person. So yeah, the more specific you can be, this is why actually talking to people is so important, because you'll find that it's not just the same conversation over and over. You're actually talking to different people with different needs and different desires and different stories. And so just a cookie cutter like, hi, bye, doesn't work. You gotta like, if you want to communicate with somebody, you gotta like say things that like actually make sense for their life. And you can express that in English. We allow that. We don't have to play the cookie cutter kind of like, I'm fine, thank you, and you, みたいな catchball. Nah. This is why English is so fun, is that you don't know what's going to happen next. 違うか. So yeah, being able to express yourself, yeah, or express a feeling to a specific person is a way better thing to think about. So are you saying goodbye to like, you know, your boyfriend? Are you saying goodbye to your boss? These are totally different relationships. So you're going to have to like kind of think about it, right? Because you're going to say something different. So, and then, you know, 日本語でもね、なんか建前みたいな、本音的な言い方があるんじゃないですか。So, like, you know, is this just business? You know, thank you, come again, and, you know, just say the recipe, or are you talking to a friend where originality matters, you know? So, you know, 京都ってアメリカ人みんな知ってるの? Not everybody, but for any of the Japanophiles, yeah, I would say Kyoto is pretty famous. Like if you know about Japan, or you're interested in Japan, or if you like manga or anime, or, you know, those kind of Japanophiles, I think everybody knows Kyoto, because it is the quintessential Japanese experience, from that kind of like, you know, people looking for the history of Japan kind of angle. Yeah, no, everybody kind of knows Kyoto. So, Tokyo, まあ、東京みんな知ってるよね. So Tokyo, Kyoto, maybe Osaka, まあ、広島もそうだけど, Okinawa, maybe, you know, but besides that, Kobe, maybe, いやでも福井とか群馬とか知ってる人少ないと思うよね。軽井沢とかさ、誰も知らないと思うよね。鎌倉でも知らない人多いと思うよね。江ノ島？いやー、知ってる人少ないと思うで。秋葉原なら知ってると思うよね。そういうオタク系のね。はいはいはい。まあだから趣味によってね、人によって変わるけど、まあ東京、京都、大阪、まあトップ3じゃない? So, yeah, but again, depends on who you talk to. Yeah, you know, like, and that's the other thing. Like, who do you talk to in Japan, right? Like, it's going to be tourists who are like looking for like experiences, and they're going to be like, oh, I want to go here, I want to go there, right? So everybody kind of knows Tokyo, but then, you know, which neighborhoods in Tokyo? So Shibuya, Shinjuku, maybe Ginza, maybe Roppongi, if you like have like, you know, like a expat or two. So yeah, I mean, then again, if you have friends that don't know anything about Japan, those are the best friends because like you could just blow their minds. I remember my best friend came to Japan when I was living in Yokohama, and we went out drinking in どこだっけな東横線のどこだっけな I forget the name. If I saw it on a map, I know, but we were doing karaoke. Then ちょっと飲みすぎて we fell asleep at the edge of a river. And he always brings that up. And I was like, well, that's kind of normal in Japan. But for him, he was just like on the side of some random river in the middle of God knows where. And it blew his mind, you know? So yeah, where do you want to go? What do you want to experience, right? It's like, let's do karaoke-kan in some random neighborhood and then go sleep on the side of a concrete river and then wake up and take the first train. あれは日本だね. So I guess not. I guess most Americans don't know most prefecture Japan except for Tokyo as well. Yeah. Well, yeah. And then, you know, like, well, what is happening in Sendai? You know, like what's going on in Tokushima? Ehime? You know, like what? Like, so yeah, if there's an actual reason for the place to be known, then the American would know it. But in the same way, you guys, like, そうや、先週言ったっけなんか日本人の、中学生の、なんだっけその良子の名前。But I ran into this like group of Japanese kids that were visiting America. And they were like, I heard the one kid, he's like, アメリカ暑っ And I was like, dude, do you even know where you are? Like, どこにいるかわかる? He's like, ロス I was like, yeah, 1時間ぐらい離れてるよ Like, you're like way on the outside. Like, dude, like, America's not hot. California is. Southern California is. SoCal is. Huntington Beach is, like, where you're at. But, like, they had no clue. This is America. So, yeah, like, when we talk in such big words like Japan, America, we're basically saying nothing. 意味わかるかなだって日本だったらさ、いや日本のどこの話してんのだって俺の舞鶴の留学した時の親、ホストファミリー、なんか東京1回しか行ったことないよ。So there's differences within Japan. We all know this, right? So you can't just say Japan and like actually have it have any meaning because it doesn't really mean anything. Anybody that knows Japan knows that. And in the same way in America, right? Well, アメリカ人だからさ、well, yeah, you can kind of get a few things about some of Americans. There are typical Americans for sure, but then there's plenty of Americans that are not typical, at least what you would consider typical. I would consider typical because there's different kinds of Americans, so it's therefore, hey, it's all American, you know, no matter, you know, what cultural background or language you speak, you can be an American 100%, especially in California. So it's like, what are we saying when we say American, right? So if you're talking about like, man, I know so many California people and they're like so laid back. Now, okay, now we're on to something, right? And then you're like, man, I went to New York and it's so different than California. Okay, now we're on to something like Kansai, Kanto. You know, Kansai is more funny. Kansai has better. It's like, whoa, wait, how do you know that? Well, you know, I mean, ate a few places, you know. So, yeah, the more detailed we get, like, the more accurate of a conversation we're going to have, right? So, yeah, so a few times でしょ、talk. そうや、俺、だって、世田谷、下北に住んでた時、ちょっとお正月に舞鶴に戻ってもうどこに住んどるのって聞かれて、いや世田谷区でなんかおしゃれみんななんか So yeah, there's totally like, you could argue there's like Tokyo and not Tokyo. That's a big distinction. So yeah, but if you know Japan, you know how to talk about it, right? And so just like in Japan, we have the Kanto, Kansai. America has like the East Coast, West Coast, right? So the more you know, the better and more accurately you're going to be able to speak English with the people that you're talking to. So like one of the biggest problems for Japanese people, gaijin, 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 as if like they're all the same. And you know they're not, but you just don't know why or how, you know? And so this is why experience matters. So you can talk to people, listen to an accent, start getting a clue who you're talking to before you say something stupid or just generic. Like, oh, well, you're saying that as an American, huh? Like you can kind of piece stuff together. You know what I mean? And man, I remember talking to somebody from like South Carolina in California. He was like visiting, and I could tell it was his first time to California. You know, he's just like amazed, and his accent was still like 100% South Carolina. So like he didn't kind of like, because a lot of people that move to California, they start to erase their accent. It's totally true. They like go for like a more California accent. Not everybody, of course, but a lot of people do. So he hadn't really picked up on the fact that his accent was kind of off. But anyway, little things that you pick up along the way by talking to people and realizing it's way more complicated than just gaijin, Amerikajin, Nihonjin. It would be, it's a much simpler equation for sure to think like that, but the simple equation doesn't accurately describe the universe, you know? Like if you have an accurate E equals mc squared, then you can kind of like decipher what's going on. So yeah, but like you said, even you've Anni, you've only visited Tokyo a few times, right? So it's really important like to really get the fine details of all the experience, even you yourself as a Japanese person in your own country, right? So but yeah, all those complexities come with experience and getting out more often and actually talking to people. So, have you ever seen Native Americans, the people in the U.S.? Yeah, and that's a whole other conversation right there, isn't it? But yeah, that was it's a tougher question. I mean, at the Grand Canyon, yeah, the tourist kind of there's a lot of bad things that my ancestors did, and it's still, you know, so we can talk about it, but you know, it's kind of like that's a hard, you know, talk about like kind of embarrassing, to be honest. And they're not making it right, you know, in a sense, like not really. So yeah, it's a whole complicated story, but yes, I've talked to a few, and like, you know, that's complicated for sure. A lot of things need to change, but is it buffering? I don't know, because the stream's current bitrate is higher than the recommended one, but we recommend doing, you know, this whole, now it says the stream health is healthy, is higher than we're going to use the stream bitrate of 68. Oh, really? Okay, but I don't know how to change that. So maybe next time. Oh wait, maybe I can do it now. Bitrate of 68 thou. 68 thou. And you know, my computer sometimes gets a little glitchy. 68 thou. Next time I'll fix it. Next time. All right. Anyway, yeah, the whole technical aspect of being a live streamer here drives me crazy. Don't like it, to be honest. But here we are. Got to do something, right? And that's why I kind of like the technology and I kind of hate it, is that I am able to talk with a lot of people. I don't know if you guys remember, but I was doing a live webinar weekly, right? But, every single week I was saying the same thing over and over again, like literally the same thing, because people need to hear, like, how do you actually learn a second language, right? And when so many people don't know how, everybody needs to hear the same message, basically. So I had to keep giving it. And because we're humans, like, if you're just watching a video, it only is so convincing. You know what I mean? Like, we need to see human faces literally in order to learn a second language. This is evolution. Like, this is 100,000 years of language, and right now with all this technology, we're going the wrong way. So I am definitely making a point to come on here live to talk to you guys, to answer your questions. And oh, good, you're back. The buffering thing, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what the thing is, because it says excellent on my but then again, when I watch it, it's like it's like cut off or whatever. It's like what do you call it? It's kind of blocky. I don't know. My computer is actually juggling a lot. Did I just say that? A lot right now. So, but yeah, we're here live, and this is happening, and it has to happen, because if you're actually going to learn anything, it's going to be from a human. It's not going to be from an AI chatbot. It's not going to be from a book. Not going to be from a teacher, because teachers are just kind of like reading a script anyway. What happens is you have real novel experiences, and then you as a brain don't understand what's happening, and then you as a brain have to kind of like piece it together as it's happening. Like, you don't get to press pause, pull up a dictionary, and find out what's happening in real life. That's just not how life works. You got to be in it as it's happening, actually experience like ignorance, acknowledge that you are experiencing ignorance, and then you have to take the steps to get over that ignorance. And unless you do it, you're never going to learn. And so if everything is just, translate this, translate that, how do you say this, how do you say that, you'll get so far. But to go to the next level, you really got to get into the minds of actual native speakers and just mimic them. And don't overthink it. Because like, お疲れとかさ, in the teacher's room at school, and there was an American teacher who was teaching English, but I was the student. He already spoke Japanese, the American teacher. But for some reason, I was on the phone with my teacher, my Japanese teacher, Kotani sensei. I don't know why. But then the American said, hey, tell Kotani sensei yoroshiku onegai shimasu. I was like, okay. Jamie sensei ga yoroshiku onegai shimasu tte. And she said yoroshiku, and I told him yoroshiku. And then after the phone call, I was like, what the fuck was that? What happened? What did you say? What does that even mean? And I still don't know what it means. I just know when to say it. And so it's not even like faking your ability. If you know what to say, when to say it, like, well, how is that any different than a chat bot? How is that any different than a native speaker if you know what to say, when to say it? Yeah, so it's like, yeah, like, what are we learning? How are we learning? Well, if you keep saying the right things at the right time, then you're doing okay. But how do you know what a native person would say? And a lot of Japanese will be like, well, how do I say my Japanese feeling in English? It's like you only get so far. But if you start to think like a native speaker, whatever that means, because like that could mean somebody born on a reservation in Arizona, could mean somebody born in California, could mean somebody born in New York. So there's all of a sudden it's already getting way too complicated. So even the word native speaker doesn't mean anything really, other than you were born into it. But really, what does that mean, right? Because, hey, I'm going to tell you guys a secret, but like I think that Kevin, the other YouTuber, I think he's Kiko Kushijo. And people will argue with me, I'm sure. So I haven't really talked about it. But like if you just listen to the way he speaks English, it's like he went back to Japan when he was in junior high school, and Japanese is his mother language. English is his second language. It's just classic Kiko Kushijo. Even though he was born here, he's not necessarily native in the sense that Kiko Kushijo is a kind of like a special native speaker. So it's a little more complicated than us normal people. So no, not throwing shade on anybody, just being as linguistically scientific as possible on this. And there is a difference. So anyway, yeah, what is a native speaker? What does that even mean? What's an American? What does that even mean? It's just like, 意味がない, 意味がない. So what does have meaning? Well, all the different varieties in the spectrum, 10人十色って感じで, like get to know people, talk to them, learn the patterns, right? So when you hear my accent, アメリカ人だじゃなくて、カリフォルニア人か. You know what I mean? Like you'll hear it, you know, like I do remember talking to East Coast people in Tokyo and instantly being like, oh, like you're from New York or something. You're okay, different. You think differently. You have a different rhythm, you know, and it's eye opening or ear opening, whatever you want to call it. 'Cause like each experience is your lesson, you know, real world experiences with real people are the only pages of the textbook that you need to pay attention to. You know what I mean? Like all this stuff that I'm doing with like the technology to show you guys all these cool little colors and the backdrops or whatever. This technology means nothing. All you need is an ear and like a real person. So yeah, but I hope we're making progress. I hope we're getting better. I hope we're illuminating the consciousness, the ignorance. And so now we become more knowing. And with that knowing, we can take that knowing into the next experience, right? So since it's very hard to get 100 people into the same room, technology is convenient, but it's definitely a slippery slope into like living in some sort of weird apocalyptic future where everybody's in a technology bubble that's filtering your information through corporate algorithms. No, seriously. Like I'm getting to the point where it's like, oh, damn, everybody in the world is brainwashed by corporate interests. Now what? You know, like what we thought was the structure of society, I don't think is the structure of society at all. You know, I think if we're going to get into actual understanding, we might have to like get back into more class-based education. But, you know, that's a whole other subject, isn't it? Because, like, oh my gosh, you guys just had an election, and it's just like, okay, really? Okay. Wow. You know? But, I don't know, it's hard for me to tell because I'm not in Japan, so I can't, like, talk to people. But the shit that I'm seeing on the internet, I don't know. I don't really trust it because the way first of all, a lot of the information that I see about Japan is based, it's like Americans and British people talking about Japan. And I've never trusted, well, foreigners, non-Japanese people talking about Japan, especially if they don't speak Japanese. I remember I had a teacher in college who did not speak Japanese, but he was teaching me about Japanese culture. I took the class, I got an A, not because he taught me anything, because I already knew it, because I experienced it, right? But I just don't really give authority to a teacher teaching me about Japan when he doesn't even speak Japanese. You know what I mean? Like, how could you possibly really, if you really think about it? And so, you guys watch all this like English 英会話, and it's like a Japanese person telling you, right? Like Nakata University, like explaining English. It's like, what? Like, what do you know? And if you listen to his English, it's like, not a lot, not yet. He's still learning, which is fine. He might, therefore, not anything to look up to. He's no better than you. You know what I mean? So like, why even give him, a moment of your attention, And I'm learning a lot because I'm trying to like really find good information on the internet, and anytime there's a robot voice or anytime there's no face, I really take it with a grain of salt. Like, I swear to God, we need to like learn the difference between what's robot and human. So, ライブストリーム以外はいつも何してるの? Oh, I make YouTube videos. I don't know if you've noticed, but that's pretty much it. Yeah. I mean, when I was living in Tokyo, I was doing private English lessons and I was doing fashion modeling. But when I moved back to California, I was like, oh, well, I've got this course. And so I was like, how do I like share this course? And I was doing kind of like private lessons over the phone or Zoom. But essentially, yeah, like once you create like a platform for your lessons, so like, for me in this case, it's this right here, my app, right? I don't have to keep saying the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. I just have to make a video that kind of like shows everybody like, oh, this is what I've got here. And if you want to learn more, just download this. So I just basically am now like a TV station. フジテレビって感じで、なんかコンテンツを作ってる。それだけ人気コンテンツも作りたいと思うね。それだけ。で、なんか、スポンサー的に他のチャンネルだったらね、Today's sponsor is Babbel とかさ、なんか他の YouTuber のスポンサーは何でしょうか。なんか会社の英会話のアプリじゃない必ず。But you see, the difference is my app is my app. It's mine, my creation, my idea. And I think it's really cool. And so this is really all I do. こっちか。So, like, really, I just am like a TV channel. Like, ちょっと監督的に違うか。Fashion model してたんだ。Yeah. 192。それで問題になりました。日本のメーカー、ブランドとかさ、いつもサンプル作るときのサイズはもうちょっと S か M って感じで、俺192だったから、あんまりね、ぴったりフィットしなかったよね。だから、なんだろうね。 I didn't get like a ton of like modeling jobs, like typical modeling jobs, but I did get the unique, cool, creative, and unique ones. Honestly, I loved what I did, to be honest. Yeah, 92です。はい。But yeah, no, like there's only, you know, the government only understands so much, and they told me I had to get a corporate job, so, you know. 高い方ですよね。92ってまあ高い方ですね。I remember I was in Hollywood back when I lived in Hollywood, and I was at the grocery store, Trader Joe's, with my neighbor, and I saw like a tall guy. He's like, even for me, I was like, oh, that's tall. And then I was like, wait. And I looked down at my neighbor because he's smaller than me. I'm like, do I look like that to you? He just kind of laughed. He's like, yes. So, yeah, I have no concept of. I rarely see somebody taller than me. It does happen for sure, but it's not often. So, yeah. お父さんは普通って感じで、お母さんは女の人と比べたら背が高いと思うよね。で、お母さんのお兄さん、彼と、まあ、なんていう、なんだろう、ぴったりって感じ。Maybe I could find a photo just really quickly, because like you guys will like it will explain everything. 遺伝って不思議だね。遺伝って。Here, hold on. なんかすぐ見つけれるかな。But この体別に選んでないよ。このヒゲも選んでないよ。身長も青目も左利きもたまたまって感じですね。なんか遺伝のパチンコって感じじゃない？人生って。だからこっちかな。ちょっと待って。おじさんのね、あれを見たらわかると思う。そうそう、お父さんに似てない俺。お父さんの遺伝ってなんだろうね。俺に入ってないって感じ。違うか。どうだろう。これでいけるかな。そうですよね。じゃあ、こっちにしようかな。なんか見える。これが、俺のおじさんと、おばさん。おばさんがイギリスのウェールズから来ました。でも、おじさんが俺の、カリフォルニア生まれ。違うか。カリフォルニア生まれじゃないよね。でも、ちょっと似とるじゃないね。違うか。俺のヒゲの方が立派なんですけれども。So, anyway, 遺伝って面白いよね。But, yeah, I didn't really choose it. So, I prefer to kind of think about the things that we can improve and make better. そしたら、才能が、それは面白いと思うよね。で、そのモデルしてた時の、だってただの身長高いハンサムな顔だけじゃなくて、才能あるよみたいな。So I try to make the shoots as interesting as possible and as fun as possible. And so, yeah, it was always exciting. I literally enjoyed the creative process of doing modeling. So somewhere in all of this process is like, well, yeah, so modeling, English education, YouTube. You know what I mean? So, well, modeling was one thing, but the other thing was acting, because I've been in like 3 movies, few different TV shows, online shorts and stuff like that. NHK のアルクメデスの、集約っていうかさアイドルっていうかアイコンでもアルクメデスを、検索まあじゃあできるんじゃないこっちにないかもね、YouTube ってわかんないやってみよう But anyway Yeah, the biggest problem is that in order to do collaboration with TV or movies, you got to be part of like a 事務所 And 俺だって日本に住んでないから、そういうコネがないって感じビザがないとで結婚してビザもらえるけど I don't want to do that あの目で他の人を利用したくないもんねlet's see here この番組してるないかないか歩くメレスってこれじゃないの That's me. But why wouldn't it? Here. This is okay. Here, I'll show you guys this. This is good. My friend made this. My friend is a photographer. And he was like, hey, help me. I was like, okay. So, check it out. We collaborated. Taka. He got the hairstylist, got the fashion people. He provided the camera. But yeah, look at that. Wow, look at that. I mean, look at that. Oh, that's my suit. That is not my shirt, by the way. Not my glasses either. It was my lollipop, though. Man, I wish I had hair like that. GTA. Where's the other one? We did oh, I guess that was just photo only. Anyway, アルカメデスじゃないよ、それ。No, see, that's the thing. I did so many good, interesting, creative things when I was living in Tokyo. I really enjoyed Arukumede. Oh, this one's another one. We can watch a little bit of this. Because I was working with a director. Huh? 音楽はなんだ? Oh. That's my real name. 知ってたの? So Yasuki, he's a commercial director. So yeah, anyway, that was a fun shoot. And we shot after doing a pachinko commercial. So yeah, no, I did a lot of things, guys. Like, a lot. And it all just kind of like goes into the nothingness after a while, you know, unless it really catches on and gets famous, which a lot of what I did didn't really do anything. I mean, my YouTube channel is like, what got me famous. So anyway, 歩くメレーさんないの？歩く、じゃあわかった。NHK。だって NHK で撮影してた。Come on. Where on earth is it? Am I spelling it wrong? 歩く目です。歩く目です。Or is NHK just like they don't want to share that whatever? Well, whatever. Doesn't even matter, does it? I mean, you can look it up later. So yeah, kind of one of a kind. Well, one of a kind. I mean, lots of people are acting and doing things, but yeah, it was hard to do acting in Japan because 観光客に見えないいつもそういう役。それがなんかスーツ着てるビジネスマンって感じ。そういう役が多かったから、ちょっとキャラがある海先輩は、なんだろうね。でも、ユダヤ人、なんか少年 H の映画でユダヤ人の演技できました。それで、なんかテルマエローマエの昔のローマの人みたいな、なんだっけ、役の、まあ、いろいろやってたんだけどね。But like, for like a typical role in Japan, the writers and the directors, they don't imagine me. なんだろうね。だから難しいっていうかさ、なんか監督の想像力の問題ですね。いつも。気が合ってる監督とよくクラブできましたね。安行とか。But like 普通の、なんていう俳優の仕事にあまり合わなかったよね、俺。そうね。だからまあ YouTube やってさ、なんかこれでちょっとまあ有名になったからさ、まあ自分の、動力で。だからこれでいいの。コラボができたら嬉しいんだけどね。でも別に探してないし、欲しいと思わない。これで十分ですよね。今やってること。だってライブストリームってこうやってやって、もう1時間半40分経ってるけど、全然なんか時間のあれが感じてないよ。で、もっとできるって分かってるんやけど、もう遅いからね、もう夜だからね、なんか、そんな、なんだろうね、時間ずれてるのね、嫌だから、日本に、ねまあ、そうですよね。ビザの問題ですよね。So anyway, I don't have to be in Japan to make a video. So like, I'm fine where I'm at, but it would be nice to go back to Japan and make videos from there. But the visa, if I'm going to do the business visa, it's like 50,000 US dollars or something that you have to have. And it's like, like that's a lot to have in the bank at one time. So either it's that, 結婚っていうあれはしたくないからごめんね。いや。あれ、だって1年、3年、4年、5年って本当に気が合わない人じゃないと無理だからな。So anyway, so that leaves us back to where we're at. Where we're at is like right here in this technology right here. And, you know, I gotta make my next video and that's pretty much it. And hopefully by, you know, spring or whatever, I'll be able to go visit Japan. でも2 years ago, 日本行った時、あれってちょっと飽きた。Because I was visiting Tokyo, then Kyoto, and I made a video, a few videos, and it was fine, but I was like, I can't あちこちにジャンプしたくないって気がついた。一つのところに集中したいって感じで、なんだろうね。Airbnb だけで飛んで、it's too much kind of like stress っていうかさ、なんだろう、集中したいよね。でも、when you really have to like buy an airplane ticket, then look for another Airbnb, then you have to like figure out how to eat food and cook food in every new place. なんで風船 So, yeah, it was just too complicated. I'd like to get one studio somewhere in Japan and stay there for 3 months and then leave. だって everybody wants to leave Japan でしょ？違うか。So yeah, by doing YouTube, I have the ability to live anywhere in the world, you know? And that's the thing. When I went to Paris, I was like, そうそうそう、ウェイキーウェイキーで、はいはいはいはい。あれで検索してくださいね。で、いろいろ出てくると思うんだけどね。だって安行といろいろコラボしたんだけどね。彼が、まあ仕事は CM だったからね。But like ちょっとサイドに like let's be creative って感じで okay, like we didn't do it for the money. I mean if we get paid great, but like we were just doing it to practice and make content and stuff. So I think the difference was he really wanted to make a movie and I was kind of like, well, there's this thing called YouTube and you know, we can make a lot more like stuff if we just keep doing that, but he really wanted the movie part, and so I was like, well, if you're gonna do movies, you gotta like you do you, because I'm just the actor, right? So the collaboration, you can only collaborate so much, right? So anywho, let's see. Yeah, thank you. I agree with you. Marriage is so hard for me as well. Yeah, well, it is hard for everybody. Trust me. Having heard a lot of different people's experiences and having a few experiences of my own, yeah, finding somebody is very, very hard. But I think the key, at least for me, is that it's not really about finding somebody. It's just a matter of making myself just a better all-around person. So I don't focus on looking at all. It happens when it happens kind of thing. But even when there's like a sense of like connection, that long-term thinking of like, where do you want to buy a house, for example? These questions matter just as much as, you know, do you have the same hobbies? And so, you know, if somebody's like, well, I have a house here in this city. Yeah, see, it's just like, well, I don't want to live in that city. Well, if we change cities, then what am I going to do for work? Because, you know, like if somebody were to come to California from Japan, right? It's like, well, what are you going to do for work for how long? I don't know. I mean, you have your life, right? Do I have to figure that out for you? And so if you don't already have like the ability to work online or work in America, like you know, you basically become a dependent on me. And that's kind of weird too, right? Like how, you know, what are we doing here, right? So yeah, we got to be mindful of all these different things. But in my head, it's kind of like, look, I mean, I don't have a ranch yet, like a compound with many rooms and many houses and stuff. So I would like to take care of everybody if I could. Let's put it like that. Like I would love to like create a community where everybody can just live peacefully, you know, and have a good time, and you know, money, whatever, you know. It would be nice to be like that level. I want to live close to my friends, you know, loved ones, and we all have this like compound. That would be great. But until I buy the compound, you know, it's like everybody's got to do their own part, you know. And I don't want to get into details with who is who, but I know of a recent couple, and they have one kid and another kid on the way. And this couple, they're in their 20s. And I'm just going to say, you know, life is hard when you don't know how to make money. And a lot of it too, you know, like just having a job is not enough in America these days. A lot of people, like both parents have to like work, for example. And so, you know, I know a young couple in their 20s, and they're really having a tough time because of the one money thing. So it's like I'm looking at that. I'm like, oh God, and here I am, like 102. Like, well, no, this money thing is really important. But how do you do it? How do you make it? And everybody's got their own solution. But for me, it's like, oh no, I just 100 people, a million people, whatever, download my app, and like, because it's free, I don't want to worry about the money, in the sense that I just want to make sure that people have access to this cool tool that is way better than school. Don't be a fool. 違うか. So, anywho, I think all of that said and done, it's time for me to go, because today I was just going to be doing a light. I was planning on hop on for an hour. But even for you guys, an hour is not enough. Like, if you're going to be like, oh, I want to become fluent, you got to do this for like literally 10 hours a day. 疲れるよ. But what else are you going to do? How else are you going to learn it? Like, you got to get into that rhythm of like daily practice and use. And you need like a hostoto-san, ne? Or oni-san, or senpai, to really help you transition your brain from 日本語モードから英語モードね. And you don't do it, 10 minutes isn't enough. You know what I mean? 20 minutes is not enough. 1 hour is not enough. Like, literally 10 hours a day is what you need to be doing. So I could keep going, but I'm not, because it's nighttime and I'm hungry and I'm going to go to bed soon. So yeah, I'm still in the healing mode from my arm. You notice I didn't talk about it, because it's like I've finally learned what was wrong for so long. But let's not digress on that subject, because I was so stupid. So ignorance hurts, guys. And if I can do anything to like get rid of your ignorance, I'll do it. But once you understand you got the ignorance, you got to find a way to get out of the ignorance. And the only way is to find a trusted source of information, like some sort of authority or guru or whatever, teacher, whatever you want to say, that gives you like the best advice, so that you can get out of the ignorance by yourself and become independent and not need a teacher or a senpai or hostoto-san, ne? Independence is really the name of the game here. And the sooner you build your own strength, you're no longer dependent on any one person. That's why I say talk to as many people as possible. And like maybe the first 10, 20, 30, 100 people, you're like, man, this is so... But after a while, you understand that the 1,000 people are your teacher. The process is the process. And so then you don't have anything to worry about. Nah? So anywho, get out there, get outside. I know it's cold, but you got to do it, get out there, say hi to people, tell them they have a nice shirt, tell them they have a nice camera, whatever you got to do. Have conversations with more people, get to know where they're from, get to know why they're in Japan, and just listen, don't judge, just kind of like take it in, and you'll learn something new, even if it's just a little bit. And then you take that information into the next person that you meet, and then you'll learn a little more. And hopefully then you'll learn a little more about yourself. And then you'll learn a little more about like other people and yourself. I mean, it just gets more interesting as you go, the more you do it. So the more you do it, the better you get. And the better you get, the better you feel. So let's eat something with every meal. Beans. Anyway. It's been fun. And I'm glad you guys came out. Thank you so much. I hope you watch the videos that I've been making. Long story short, I'm doing this strategy where I'm releasing all these little videos, because I get the data back. Like, oh, you guys watch this, you're watching this, you're not watching this, you're not watching that. But then I'm going to make a super video in the next week or two. So stay tuned for that. And hopefully I'll do the live stream next week, and we'll pick it up from there and see what we're talking about then. Okay, so thanks. Yeah, I look forward to next time as well. And in the meantime, take it easy. See, Don't overthink it and enjoy the process, right? Like the whole point of learning a language isn't to talk to a robot. And it's not to talk to yourself. でしょ? The whole point is to talk to other humans. 違うか? And so if you really, really, really actually cared about learning a second language, English, the only thing that you're going to do is not pick up a book, it's not go to school, it's not watch another video. You're going to get outside and you're going to go meet somebody and you're going to have stay cool, not stay warm. It's so freezing. It's freezing. It's freezing here. I mean, 15 degrees is so cold in California. Oh my gosh. I have to wear like socks. It's crazy. Anywho, take it easy, guys. I'll see you next week and enjoy the beautiful day. じゃあね。またね。Bye bye. Peace.